is up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. I am so very excited to be filming this because this is one of the most requested video topics on my channel ever since I've been reviewing the Versas over, well, not the Versas, the Fitbit different watches over the years. My personal favorite was the Fitbit Versa. I absolutely loved it. And if you are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. Thank you for clicking on the video. I have a broken hand. I'm hiding it right now in this sweatshirt so it doesn't look too ridiculous. But ironically enough, the broken hand was what kind of pushed me to purchase the Apple Watch finally, and kind of compare it between the Fitbit Versa, which I've been using over the last year, to the Apple Watch. Ever since I got the Fitbit, the most commented thing on that video was, can you review the Apple Watch in comparison to the Versa? The Apple Watch to this, Apple Watch, Apple Watch, Apple Watch. Everybody wanted the Apple Watch. Now, I will say my mom works for Apple and she has also been trying to get me to purchase the Apple Watch for a very long time, and I just didn't want to. I mean, for whatever reason, I just was so in love with the Fitbit software. I had no issues with it. I loved that everything was in one app. I loved that it had a sleep tracker, and we will get into all of that. This video is probably going to be very long, but I just wanted to give you guys a little background as to why I suddenly got the Apple Watch. So here it is. When I broke my left arm, I wore my Fitbit Versa on my left arm, and then I had to try to wear it on my right arm. Now, I have a really dark tattoo that wraps around my wrist and my forearm, and when I put my Versa on this arm, it no longer read my heart rate, and I was like, no way. Because I have a full sleeve on this arm, but this is also a very old sleeve, and I never had issues with it reading my heart rate. Granted, its color, it's like a pinky red color that the watch heart rate sensor sits on, so maybe that has something to do with it because this is so dark. It's like pretty much black and dark green ink, so maybe, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, so I was like, well, I can't wear my Fitbit Versa anymore, so I guess I'm gonna try the Apple Watch. So this video was born because I broke my hand. So thank you, Manders, for breaking her hand so that I can now review the Apple Watch. I would also like to say before I get into everything that I purchased this with my own money. This is 100% my opinion, just like it was with the Fitbit Versa. Not sponsored, no compensation in any way, shape, or form, so you guys always know that you're getting my 100% honest opinion. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, so what I'm going to do is start off by talking about the Apple Watch, the one that I purchased, how much it was, the specs, and then we'll get into comparisons and specific topics that I've written down. I've done so much research on this. Like, I am very invested in this video. I've had it for 2 weeks now, the Apple Watch, and so I've been writing down all kinds of stats, taking screenshots for you guys. So hopefully this will be extremely helpful for you, and I want to make it as detailed as possible so that you have enough information about both the Fitbit and the Apple Watch to make a decision if that's what you are here for. So the Apple Series 4 watch, that is the watch that I purchased, and I got the black on black aluminum case one. This one was $350 at Best Buy. It was on sale. The original price of this was $399. I personally opted to not buy the cellular one because I don't know, number one, this video, or the reason why I purchased this watch, was kind of for review purposes only. So it wasn't like I really felt like I was going to be taking calls on my watch. And let's be honest, I don't have that many friends that are gonna be calling me, like, hey, what's up? So I just didn't really feel the need to buy that. But that is a option for you if you are interested in that. This basically just means that you have cellular capabilities on your watch, so you can leave your phone at home and you can run to the grocery store, and if somebody calls you, your watch will ring and you can answer it and do all that fun stuff. So now we're going to get into the specs of the Apple Watch. This is what I have taken directly from the Apple website. If you're just not familiar, we'll go through these really quickly. The Apple Watch has a dual core 64-bit S4 processor, 1.7-inch display, LED Retina, 448 by 368 pixel resolution. I will say that the screen is very pretty. Throughout this video, you guys will see a lot of B-roll footage of me at the gym with the watch. I'll get up close so you can see how it looks compared to the Fitbit, but I will say that it is very pretty. The display that they put on this little watch is amazing, and I did get the 40mm one. You have the option of 44mm, which is just a tad bigger, but I have small wrists, so I just didn't feel that that was necessary for me. I just feel like for having a 40mm screen, it is so bright, so beautiful, and even when you get pictures on it, and we'll get into that as I talk more about the capabilities of the watch, but when you receive pictures like via text message and it pops up on the watch, it's just amazing to me how crystal clear it looks, and it's just like, it sounds like a little mini iPhone on your wrist. Operating system is watch OS 5, 16 gigabytes of internal storage, wireless technology. It's got 32 G-force accelerometer, barometer, gyro, ECG, electrode, optical heart rate, ambient light. So this is also pretty cool. The heart rate sensor has been upgraded from the previous Apple Watch versions, and they now offer an EKG, which I'll talk about also. And I just feel like they went a little bit above and beyond with the heart rate tracking capabilities. And to my point, I've had no issues with the heart rate sensor during the day. I will tell you what has happened this week, and I still have not figured it out, but we gotta get there one step at a time. Other features, if this means anything to you, IP68 and 5 ATM dust and water resistant, up to 50 meters. Integrated microphone and speaker, which I will say the speaker is quite loud on this little guy. Like, very impressed with how loud they were able to get the speaker on this watch. Battery, up to 18 hours of advertised battery life. Dimensions, 40 and 44 millimeter models. As I said, the large one measures 44 by 38 and weighs 48 grams. So that is just the wrap up of the specs. What I will say right off the bat about the display is that it is really nice, and just the watch to look at in general is very appealing in my opinion. I just feel like it also has a little bit more weight and, I don't know, feels a little bit fancier than the Fitbit Versa, if that makes sense. Like, once I put the Fitbit Versa back on after having the Apple Watch, I could see that this was just a little bit heavier. The Fitbit kind of just seemed flimsy in that way, but the Apple Watch just has a really nice look to it. And as I show you guys the different like app specs, how you can set up your watch face and all that, you'll see what I mean. Like, it's so detailed and so nice to look at. So I do think that is a positive. Also, and I'm reading off of this because I wrote this down, I didn't want to forget anything, but the digital crown on this watch, this is probably the biggest difference between the Apple Watch and the Fitbit Versa. The Apple Watch offers a digital crown on the side, which also substitutes as an EKG reader. So let me just get up here. Okay, there we go. So you can see the crown on this side of the watch here, and there is also a button. That's the reset button and power off and on button. You also utilize that when you're setting up the watch. But as you can see, the infograph face watch that I have on mine, and we'll go through all of that fun stuff as we go through it. But the digital crown was invented to provide an easy way to navigate the Apple Watch without obstructing the display, which is true, I do like that. The Apple Watch Series 4, the mechanism has been totally re-engineered. Haptic feedback now delivers a precise click-like feel as you scroll, and a titanium electrode built into the top allows you to use the EKG app simply by touching the digital crown with your finger. So essentially you can put your finger on this little guy here, and when you open the EKG section of your health app, you will be able to measure your heart rate and any abnormalities on this little crown thing. So that is pretty cool. Next feature we will be discussing is the water resistant. A lot of people were asking about swimming workouts. Obviously, because I have a cast right now, there will be no swimming or water sports of the sort for the next at least 3 weeks. So I don't know personally how it tracks a swimming workout. That was one thing that I was not able to test right now. In the future, maybe I will. But as far as water resistant goes, it is up to 50 meters. And if anyone has any type of swimming app that they use with their Apple Watch, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Like I said, I don't know because I'm not able to swim right now. Interesting feature on the Apple Watch that they now just added is the fall detecting feature. I think this is really great, especially for elderly people or just if you're a fall risk, any type of thing like that. It detects falls and offers emergency SOS. So like when you fall, it will somehow know that you've fallen and pop up a little thing that says SOS, and you can just swipe to call 911 from your watch directly, which I do think is really, really interesting. I've not seen anything like that before. So that is pretty cool. I've seen some of the pictures when I was doing my research, so I'll pop them up for you guys here so you can take a look. And like I said, I just think that is something a little bit out of the box. I feel like that's a good point to make in general with this Apple Watch. You know, the reason why I personally went Fitbit is because I wanted the watch to be fitness capabilities. Like I wanted it to focus on that, right? I wanted it to have workouts, sleep, ability to log my weight and track it, and everything to be integrated in one fitness style app. And the Apple Watch, while it has certain capabilities to do those things, as we'll talk more about in this video, it's really just evolving into so much more than that. It is a very techie watch. You can do a lot on it. There's so many different apps you can load onto it that it's not just a fitness watch. And in all honesty, I wouldn't even really consider it a fitness watch, to tell you the truth. I would say this is like a smart watch. If you are looking for something that does a lot of different things that isn't really focused on fitness, then you may be better off with the Apple Watch in comparison to the Fitbit. So let's get into the setup of the watch. We'll start from the beginning. So when I bought the Apple Watch, setup was actually a little bit more difficult than I would have liked it to be. And that is just because once I got it to, and this may have just been a glitch, but once I set up the watch faces were not working properly, and I was looking at other YouTube videos and things like that, and my app, like the actual watch app, did not look like everybody else's. It was not loading properly. And for example, I would load a face watch on my Apple Watch, and then when I would lift my wrist up to look at it, it would be totally different. So something was going on there that was kind of annoying. I had to reconnect the watch, disconnect it, turn it off, turn it back on, and then I was only able to change the watch face from the actual watch. You should be able to do both, like via the app and then also from your watch face itself. So you basically, I know this looks ridiculous, I'm sorry, but you basically hold down the watch and then you see how there's an option to customize. You can do it from the watch, which is fine, but I just wanted to make a point that I had a pain in the ass trying to do it from the actual app. So that was frustrating. Then you go into the process of picking applications for your watch. And here is where I think the biggest difference between Apple and Fitbit lies. So there are certain apps that come pre-downloaded to your watch, and then there are ones that you can go through the App Store just like on the iPhone and download ones that you think you might need. And let me tell you, there are so many different things. I was like, oh, who the heck needs to read Reddit on their watch, for example? Like, I don't know, but if you're into that, there's an option for it. So really quickly, the ones that come preloaded onto your watch are activity, alarm, camera, calendar, mail, maps, messages, music, passbook, phone, photos, remote settings, Siri, stopwatch, timer, walkie-talkie, weather, workout, and world clock. What I do think is great is that you do have the ability to customize this to whatever you feel necessary. Obviously, the more apps that you load onto your watch, the worse the battery life is going to be. But it is cool because you can do a ton of other stuff. Like some of the things I found in here, Shazam, like if you're out somewhere and you hear a song and you want to know what it is. There's calculators, sports scores, notes and reminders, something called Just Press Record where you can like record little voice notes to yourself. There's even one called City Mapper, which is like a public transportation app on the watch. So I mean, there's just a plethora of things that you can do on this little guy, which I think is great. But like I said, I just personally preferred the Fitbit integration of one app. Like you bought the watch, you got the app. Sure, you could have downloaded Strava or Pandora or whatever, but like when you wanted to look at all of your data and you wanted to just have everything in front of your fingertips, you just clicked one app. And the biggest thing I think that was crazy to me was that there was no preloaded sleep tracker. And I just thought that was really bizarre because I think that's something that a lot of people tend to use. And there are sleep tracking apps. I will talk about that next, but it just didn't come preloaded. So even when you're going into the Apple Watch area on your phone, you have to now toggle through different apps and like get something from your fitness thing and get something from your sleep. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like that's annoying. I just want everything in one area. Maybe that's just me being a little bit too needy, but I love being able to see everything in one place. I don't need to go through 15 different apps and check all my different stuff. That's just too much. Honestly, the biggest deterrent for me, aside from just liking Fitbit from buying the Apple Watch, was the battery life. I mean, you just can't compare 18 hours to like 5 or 6 days on the Fitbit. And while I personally had my text notifications turned off on my Fitbit, I could legitimately get pretty much a full week on one charge with a Fitbit. And I just feel like you really can't compare an 18-hour watch to something that's a full week. It just, for people that don't like to charge things on a daily basis, the Fitbit's great for that. Apple Watch, you do have to charge it, and they say 18 hours, which is pretty much accurate unless you are actually getting a ton of notifications, checking the apps, doing all these types of things on your watch. Then you're probably only going to get about 12. The first app that I purchased on the Apple Watch was Fit IV. And this is basically just workout activity tracking. And the reason why I purchased this one is because it also gives you steps, your full calorie burn. I did find out actually later on throughout the week that in the activity little app portion of the Apple Watch, you can swipe through your move calories and see your total calories. Accuracy, people are always gonna ask me about accuracy. I don't know, and I don't have anything concrete to compare it to. So I don't really like to say like, yes, it's 100% accurate. I mean, nothing is 100% accurate, but you know what I mean. I don't have a gold standard of something to compare the two, so it's unfair to say that Fitbit is more accurate than the Apple Watch. The other two apps, I've only purchased like 4 so far to try to compare the different sleep readings between the applications. I purchased Sleep Watch and Auto Sleep, and the first night that I used the Auto Sleep, it read automatically. I didn't press a start time, I didn't do anything before I went to bed, and it logged, you know, this here. And all of a sudden, for the last week or so, the heart rate function just stopped working in the middle of the night. It was not registering that I fell asleep, and it was only registering that I was sleeping from like 2:30 a.m. to 3:30 or 3:30 to 5:30, and obviously that is not true. I'm in bed by 8 o'clock, asleep by 9, and I sleep a solid 8 to 9 hours. Obviously, something was funky there, and at first I thought it was because I had it on airplane mode. So somebody on one of the forums that I was reading said to put the watch on airplane mode so that it would save battery life. And then I read that that could mess up the heart rate data reading in the background. So I was like, okay, turn that off, and it still didn't fix the problem. I ended up calling Apple the following day, and they were like, oh, just turn it off and turn it back on and unsync your watch and resync the watch, and it did not work. So ever since then, for the last week, it has not been reading my sleep in the health app, in Auto Sleep, in Sleep Track Plus, Sleep Watch, sorry, and then Pillow I also purchased. None of them are reading my heart rate at night. I've tried wearing it on the inside of my wrist. I've tried wearing it super tight. I've tried wearing it a little bit looser, and I got nothing. The Apple guy on the phone didn't really have any super solid advice for me, so I was able to get 1 night of sleep tracking data and over the last 2 weeks, and then ever since then I've just given up because it hasn't worked, and I haven't been wearing it at night. I've been charging it instead. So that was my biggest downfall of the sleep tracking capabilities. Number 1, that it just wasn't already integrated into the watch, and number 2, that even the applications that I purchased were, and I'm not entirely sure if this is the application or the watch, but something is not working properly, and that also bothered me because I feel like for how smart this watch is, I was like, really, like, come on. Anyway, and this could just be a fluke. My watch could just be messed up. I don't know, but I'm just letting you guys know what my experience has been so far, and it has been pretty frustrating. When we go into our little applications thing, you have Activity, which is the other app that comes with the watch. The actual watch app, where when you go into this, you can see the different watch faces that you can choose. You can do your application layouts. You can kind of move them around to how you see fit. You have pretty much all of the different applications that you have on here. You can go through, change the settings for all of those, just like you would on your iPhone. You know, it's really not much different. And then when you scroll down, you will see the ones that you have installed, your available apps that you can install that you have on your phone that you'll now need to download on your watch if you choose to do so. But the cool thing I think mostly about the watch face is that you can really customize it to how you want to see it, and there's a lot of different options for what you can look at on one single watch face. So like you'll see mine, I have the infograph one, and I have activity in the bottom. I've got heat index on the left, my calendar on the top, your heart rate, battery percentage. So you can change this to how you want it, which I think is really nice. So I think that's a great plus. But if we go back here, you'll see, and I'll pop up different things that I've noticed on the different applications. If you go into the health app, you will see this one here, this sleep analysis. This was from Pillow when I did a manual sleep log, and the rest of it has been blank because it's been reading these tiny little 2-hour blocks for some reason. And then this is kind of like what you're looking at, and now granted I haven't worn the watch today, but this is what you're looking at when you go into the health app. Then you could click on your activity. You can read different things about that there. You can go back into your activity app. your different things here, your little rings close, and then they do a little congratulations thing when you reach your little goals. So like, for example, on this day, this is Tuesday, I think I wore the watch all day, and I got 803 calories of move calories, 124 minutes of exercise, standing 11 out of 12 hours. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see my workout, my steps, and my distance. Then, you know, you have all these different apps on the app itself. And to me, that's just not ideal. I would like to have everything consolidated. The Fitbit app, you just click on one thing. Now, granted, I haven't been wearing my Fitbit, so there's gonna be no data, but you can see everything in one area. You can scroll through your previous days, and I do like that Fitbit emails you like your full weekly progress report. I think that's kind of cool. A lot of you guys were asking, is it worth it? And this is a really tough question. I mentioned this in like a Lululemon video, I think. It's very difficult to say, is something worth it? Because what's worth it to me might not be worth it to somebody else. What's expensive to me might not be expensive to somebody else, you know? So there's a lot of variables that go into this watch. And I just think that in my personal opinion, once my cast comes off, I feel like I'm just gonna go back to my Fitbit. Hopefully they'll come out with a new one this year so I can review that as well. But I just feel like I like not having to charge it every day. I like seeing everything in one app. I like that it's very fitness integrated and it's focused on fitness. It has a built-in sleep tracker, which by the way has been really, really accurate. Even when I compared it to the Whoop back last year, it was pretty much like within 30 minutes difference of the Whoop. I think that it's great. I wish I would have been able to wear them both at the same time to compare the differences, but the Apple Watch wasn't even reading my sleep anyway, so it kind of would have been pointless. But I mean, for those of you that are asking like, is it worth it? Should I get it? I think you just have to ask yourself what you're looking for in a watch. If you want a smart watch that you can respond to via text messages, obviously the Fitbit doesn't have that capability yet. You can talk into it. It has a speaker. Fitbit doesn't have that either. If you're looking for that route, like less fitnessy, less data, and you just like having a cool watch that does a bunch of shit, I would say the Apple Watch is probably your best bet. Is it expensive? In my opinion, yes. Obviously, anything with Apple is going to be expensive. You know, you compare it to the Fitbit. The Fitbit's what, like 160 bucks or something? And I just feel like, me personally, I get so much more use out of the Fitbit and it's so much more simple. So it really just depends on what you like and what you're looking for. If you're looking for a fitness-based watch that does primarily fitness things, I'd say get the Fitbit. But if you are wanting to use your watch and not use your phone, or you're gonna make calls on your watch or text on your watch or read Reddit on your watch, then you're gonna want something that does more techie things like the Apple Watch. So with that being said, I don't dislike it. I wish that if I could have a perfect world, I would combine the two. I would have the battery life of the Fitbit, the single app integration of the Fitbit, the simplicity of the Fitbit, but with the beauty and the design and the feel of the Apple Watch. Because I do think the Apple Watch has a nice, hearty feel to it, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel cheap, obviously, because it's not. It's nice, it's a nice watch, and I don't know, I wish that we could just make one of them together, utilizing both the Fitbit and the Apple Watch. That would be the coolest watch ever, and I would totally buy it no matter how much it was. So anyways, hopefully that answered a lot of your guys' questions on the Apple Watch. My vote is going to be with Fitbit. Once my cast comes off, I'm gonna go back to the Fitbit most likely. So I just wanted to review it for you guys, let you know what my experience has been so far. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, click subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. And that is where I'm going to wrap this video up. I know it's getting long, so thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you so much. And if you have any other questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in my next one.